Oh, shit. It's that time of week again. It's the Modern Maverick Podcast time of week again. Number 11. Welcome to the Modern Maverick Podcast. Coming to you live from, my kitchen again. As you can see, we got a different background today. Normally, I change the angle. If you're watching this on video, if you're listening to this on through iTunes or through Podomatic, you're not seeing this. But for those who are listening to the YouTube video, you've minimized it. Thank you. You got a nice, we're getting a bit more professional over here. A little bit more. Little by little, we're growing and we're changing things. So instead of being filmed from a different angle, I switched it up today. And we get a wider range, and then I get a view of my computer.
We've got room to move. To exercise.
We're not as...
activities.
There goes my headphones.
Well.
Anyway. Next step is to upgrade our equipment so I don't have to bitch after these headphones all the time.
Baby steps.
So, there it goes again. Fuck this bitch. I hate these things. I need to get like one of those, I don't know what they call them, but... like an amplifier,
a power,
like a headphone,
a
headphone amplifier.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fucking expensive.
They are.
Everything's cheap ones are $50, but apparently it's not that good. So it's better off with a $3 splitter, which I'm using right now.
Yeah.
I can only hear from one side, and it's a little bit
going back and forth. It keeps us on our toes.
It's like fuck. Will keep us awake.
Yeah, exactly.
With this delicious energy drink that I'm drinking. I normally don't drink energy drinks. I really don't. I hate them. They're disgusting for you. They're really not good, but I needed some energy, and I had a coffee already today, and I don't feel like having coffee.
Coffee for me.
So welcome to podcast episode or ep number 11,
the Pittsburgh Pirate edition.
That's right here.
Arr.
I was gonna wear my my San Fran Giants jersey, but they didn't make it to the playoffs. They sucked great balls this year. Barely. I think they were one of the worst teams in the NL. So I am cheering for the biggest underdog story, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Go Pirates.
Yeah. And I'm cheering for the Pirates because they're the only team I really like.
Yeah.
I've been a Pirates fan for 20 some odd years, and I'll tell you why I'm a Pirates fan. The only championship I ever won as a kid playing sports was in baseball. One year we won as the Pirates.
The Pirates.
We were the Pirates. And I'll never forget, I made the last play of the game. I was playing shortstop, dove out, caught the ball, threw the guy out at first. Coach ran out on the field and picked me up in the air. It was a pretty awesome moment.
That's awesome.
So, the Pirates always stuck with me, and I decided to be a Pirates fan at that point. And Andy Van Slyke, of all players, was my favorite baseball player.
Who?
Andy Van Slyke played outfield for the Pirates alongside Bonds and company. And, so go Pirates. Pretty awesome story.
I became a Giants fan a little bit because of the Pittsburgh Pirates, because I was always a Barry Bonds fan. Mm-hmm. As a kid, I grew up watching baseball, and like many Canadians, you're either a Blue Jays fan or an Expos fan.
Yep.
And growing up watching the Expos, because back home watching a lot of French TVs when it came summertime, when you watch baseball. TSN didn't exist back then, or if they did, we didn't have it.
Yeah. There's a first.
Sorry about that.
That's why he doesn't drink energy drinks.
I was trying to make it so subtle.
There's no subtle with two mics on.
One reason why these fucking carbonated drinks aren't good for you.
Oh, man.
And so I was obviously by default, I think, an Expos fan. I love watching baseball. I played it since I've been 6 years old, and I loved it. And then... But I was always a Barry Bonds fan, even when he was with Pittsburgh. I remember when the Pirates used to come. I think they were in the same division as Montreal, weren't they?
No. The Pittsburgh's played in the Central.
The Central.
The Central.
Oh yeah, Montreal was in the Atlantic division.
Yeah, the Braves.
With the Braves, the Mets. Who else? Back then,
who else was in that division? That's a good question. All I can think about is the Braves because they would win the division every freaking year.
Yeah, and anyway, and I remember when the Expos left. So I was a Barry Bonds fan. He got traded to the Giants early 90s, I think.
Mid 90s maybe? Yeah. Early
just before I think Montreal moved or
so it was probably
Montreal was
Montreal moved 2000, 2000.
But they had their last good season was 94 when they went into strike with 20-some games, 40 games left.
Yeah, that kind of spoiled baseball for me. I stopped paying much. I mean, I say I'm a Pirates fan, but I was always an Expos fan too, of course. I mean, being a Montrealer, I mean, you got to root for the Expos.
I think that's when our innocence was taken away, and we realized that it wasn't a sport anymore; it was a business.
Yeah, and especially we were still young at that age too when that happened too. So
I was 14, and I was. As a 14-year-old, as a teenager, as a kid, all you see is sports. You see athletes. You don't know they make millions of dollars.
No, you
don't know if for you it's a game. And when that happened, and you heard about it on the news all over, it was like, oh shit, this is just not a game. This is a business.
Yes,
this
sir.
isn't fun anymore.
No.
But anyway, back to my story. For some reason, after this whole debacle came about, I started following the San Francisco Giants just for Barry Bonds. I was a big Barry Bonds fan for some reason. He was a big hitter. I was into, I liked the offensive players. I was a fan of pitchers as well, but I was always a fan of. So anyway, I became a fan of Barry Bonds. Thus, I became a fan of in the early 2000s. I really started paying attention when he was all juiced up and hitting the homers.
Yeah, when he was Super Barry.
Then I became a full-fledged Giants fan early 2000s. By then, the Montreal Expos were non-existent, and they finally moved to the,
Washington.
In the last few seasons, even in Montreal, there wasn't that many fans, and people were, barely filling in the seats in good old Olympic Stadium.
Yeah, what a shitty stadium. It's not the same. Not the same when you watch a baseball game in that stadium. I went to see the Grey Cup in that stadium. Was it the Bombers against the Stampeders or whoever the hell it was? I don't care. CFL. But, just to tell you how important the game was. The tickets were given away.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So like, hey, I want to go see the Grey Cup. Here you go.
Jesus.
It's free tickets. And, it's just not the same watching, even with a packed crowd. It's such a shitty stadium, man. There's no charm. There's no character to it.
It's too big.
It's big and ugly. All those concrete pillars.
I went to see a soccer game there last year. 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Last year? No. A couple years ago.
Oh, and they had that exhibition
David
there?
Beckham came here.
Yeah.
I was sitting here. Here's my seats right here. Ready? Here's my seats, and here's the wall.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was like nosebleed, top nosebleed. Like it was ridiculous.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Here, Barry Bonds played with the Pirates from 86 to 92. So, just before the Expos almost.
And then he became a Giant.
Almost made it all the way until the lockout.
So in 92, he went to the Giants.
Yeah, 93 started with them. 93 to 2007. 14 years of the Giants. Wow.
Yeah. And now he's nothing.
Look at Bonds back in 93, eh? Not the same. Yeah, you guys can't see
Can't see him. He's a bit smaller.
A bit. Just
a tad
his
smaller.
His head's not such a gigantic.
His balls are bigger, though.
Probably. Did he have a deeper voice back then? Because he has a bit of a soft voice. He's kind of got a Mike Tyson voice, no?
Yeah, a little bit more deep than Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson's the Mickey Mouse of.
I'm sure Mike Tyson's never done steroids in his life. You think he's done steroids in his life? Probably.
They probably all have. If you were an athlete in the 80s, if you were an athlete in the late 80s, early 90s, chances are you were
doing
pretty much guaranteed
horse testosterone.
Something. You were doing something.
They were talking about this. I saw a picture a couple days ago of good old Arnold back in his prime when he was winning all these Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
God damn, he was big. But but then here's my point. He was big and he was like a fucking sculpture.
Yeah.
Like a beautiful example of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
But you look at these. Have you looked at these fucking bodybuilders
They're
today?
gross, dude.
It was Mr. Olympia last weekend or the weekend before?
Mm-hmm.
Phil Heath won his third in a row, or I don't know how many. Anyway, dude, these guys are ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just
massive
veins bulging and muscles where you didn't think muscles could grow, and it's just like muscle over muscle. They've got like 4 biceps per arm.
It's I like the guy that finished second. He's got these big dreadlocks. I remember what it's. Yeah, I don't know if he still has his long hair, but I'll show you a picture. And I cannot connect to the internet. Fuck. I hate this with my iPad. We went to the gym, so I brought my iPad for my son as he was sitting down, and I connect to the Wi-Fi at the gym. Yeah. So I connected to the Wi-Fi at the gym, and now that I come back here, for some reason, it has to like.
It won't automatically catch on to your Wi-Fi.
It
That's
does,
bizarre.
but it either takes a very long time or I have to reboot it like I'm doing right now because of the IP address. You know, like that's how it works, right? It has to like read the IP address. I've been having a lot of problems with my Wi-Fi lately. Like a lot of like, especially since I upgraded to the iOS 7, which I'm starting to believe it might be a little glitch of.
That might be.
I've had also a glitch with the iMessenger on the iOS 7.
Oh.
A lot of messages not being sent. I have to reboot. It doesn't work at all.
There's always a glitch.
God,
you know, there's always a catch.
I knew it.
To an upgrade. I haven't
try to get
updated.
you
I
to
haven't
buy
updated my software in forever, man.
It's because they try to buy you you're smart. You know, you upgrade to the new software. It's meant for the newer phone. Every time they come out with a new phone, they came out with the 5S or the 5C or what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
It's that same thing when the iPhone 5 came out. When the iPhone 5 came out, they came out with the iOS 6. And you could upgrade to iOS 6 on your iPhone 4, but then everybody had these glitch and stuff. I guarantee you it's because they do it on purpose. So they want you to upgrade to the iOS.
Just like my button
iPhone
getting
5,
stuck,
man.
right?
Well, that might be because of abuse or / use it too much. It's probably the button. It is the button you use the most on your phone, though.
No, it would definitely be this button.
On my iPhone 4, before I switched to the iPhone 5, that button didn't work, and the bottom button, you know how you double click? That didn't barely worked anymore.
Jeez.
Yeah. These things are meant to. They're not like.
Well, last at least 2 years. Fuck, I've only had it just a year and a few months.
Back in the Disney, man. My first job out of college was selling cell phones. Yeah, I worked back in New Brunswick. Rogers Communication was new in New Brunswick, and they were just starting off. They didn't have towers everywhere. The popular was obviously Bell, and they had Telus, but Telus was on the backbone of Bell, so they used all their
ClearNet back in the day. Was it even when it was still called ClearNet?
No, I don't remember ClearNet. I remember a bit ClearNet, and I started working for Rogers. I worked at a kiosk in a Costco.
Oh boy, okay.
Yeah, every Costco had a Rogers kiosk that sold cell phones, and I never exchanged any money. So what you would do is people would come, they wanted a phone. We had probably 6 to 8 different phones. People would choose their phone. I would activate their phone. Then I would take their phone, go bring it to the cash. Then they would go pay for it at the Costco cash. And I would never exchange money. It was just I would activate their plan, and that was it. And it was sucky. It wasn't very popular because Rogers was new. They didn't have a lot of towers. There was a lot of dead spots. Yeah, but
I can imagine.
We did have the best prices on cell phone back then. This was 99, early 2000.
Okay,
and we did have the best. I remember having these phones you would never see, these like high tech phones for back then, you know, the Ericsson before it was Sony Ericsson. I had one, it was like a small flip phone. It was amazing for back then. We had this small Motorola phone, which was back then the smallest phone I think in the world. It was like fuck. It must have been like this. It was ridiculous.
Considering back then most phones were the size of your.
Well, that's what I was getting at.
There.
Was that Motorola used to remember the Motorola StarTAC, but they had the StarTAC was the flip phone, right? But before the StarTAC, they had the big black one, which only the bottom one would flip out.
The brick, as it was called, yeah.
You would not be able to break that. That shit was massive.
It was also a weapon in case
holy fuck
situations where self-defense was
required. The battery was half the phone.
Yeah.
You would unclick the battery and it would basically come out, and then so half your phone was the battery and half your phone was your fucking keypad.
I know. And now our phones don't even have batteries, as far as I know. I don't know where the batteries in this
iPhone
thing.
has a battery.
It's like built in, right?
If you open it, but you can't remove it.
You can't.
It's a big thing with iPhones. A lot of journalists in the States don't own iPhones because you can't remove the battery. Thus, the GPS is always on your phone. Oh. That's why iPhone is for a lot of conspiracy theorists. They think that Apple is a lot in cahoots with the government.
Really?
Yeah. For number one, for one of that reason, because the battery can never be taken out. Thus, your GPS is always on. So at any given time, anybody can know where you are because your GPS is always on.
All right. If there's any shady characters listening or watching right now,
number 2,
get yourself a backup phone for your shady dealings.
The iPhone 5 C or S that just came out with the new fingerprint.
Yes, with the fingerprint, yeah.
So everybody thinks that everybody's going to put their fingerprints on there, and that information is going to be upgraded to the government. Yeah. And Apple's, even if just Apple has that information, somebody has to have that information.
Yeah, hey, that's a good point. I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's why there's a lot of people a lot of like not regular journalism like in like fucking Vermont or like those small business, but like CNN journalism or like those journalists that goes to other countries, and sometimes they're brought into places that are secret to meet people. If they have iPhones, they would have to either leave it somewhere. They couldn't bring it because they couldn't take their battery out.
Interesting.
If they had a Galaxy, they can take the battery out and then the GPS is off. Because apparently, even if you turn your phone off, the GPS still works on the iPhone.
I did not know that. I don't like that.
It's crazy, though, if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I'm not one to get sucked into conspiracy theories, but I enjoy them. I enjoy reading about them. And every once in a while, you hear one that makes you think. And, that makes me think a bit.
But even if the government wasn't involved, the fact that
somebody's got it.
Fingerprint.
Yeah, somebody's got my fingerprint now. That's true.
Now I'm gonna have a fingerprint that only I can. I guess it's to open your phone. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
the
it's
fingerprint
to unlock
technology.
it. Yeah, it's your lock now.
What? Why is it hard to do this?
I don't know.
Why do you have to add the technology, the fingerprint technology? Because it's fancy and futuristic, and everybody wants to buy it. Is it a marketing scheme, or is it because hey, now I have everybody's? Because here's the thing. If you've never committed a crime in your life,
nobody's got your fingerprint.
Nobody's got your fingerprints. You're on file anywhere.
Well, if you haven't been arrested for committing a crime, right? Or
that's right. So if you've never been to a place where they've taken your fingerprints, and now because once they have your fingerprints, you're on file.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You get processed, and that's it. If you've never been processed and you never got your fingerprints, I can go out. Not saying I will commit a crime tomorrow, aka I can kill somebody. That murder will go unsolved. Even if my fingerprint is all over the scene, they'll be like, well, we don't have anybody to match this. And if I'm not even considered a suspect, they won't follow me around to try to get my fingerprint.
No.
So thus, it's easier for me to get away with a crime.
Very true.
But now with the new iPhone 5C, so any conspiracy theorist out there is probably salivating at the mouth right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it makes a lot of sense. Why would Apple, as an organization, would want to get a hold of all that information?
Yeah, I didn't think about that aspect at all. For me, you brought up, is it a marketing scheme? And that's what I figured.
Why would they want to get you to remove
the battery? It's a fancy, and why not? Well, I figured the whole battery thing was that for people who use their phone a lot, their phone's going to die, and then because you have to send it in for them to change the battery.
That might be a marketing thing.
So you can make more money off of them. Exactly. Or, my battery died, fuck it, I'll just buy a new phone.
You can't. I don't even think they sell new batteries.
No, that's it. You can't go to a store and buy a battery.
But one thing with Apple, though, products that I've noticed since the first Apple product that I got is that the fucking battery life on an Apple product is amazing compared to any other product.
Is it really?
On a laptop?
Yeah.
Like you have an Apple laptop, right?
Yeah, my batteries die pretty quick, though. But mine
really?
Yeah, but mine's pretty old, and I've used the shit out of it.
If you have a new Apple laptop and stuff compared to like a Windows, it's not even comparable.
Well, compared to Windows, I'm not
compared to like a Windows-based laptop such as like Sony. I had a Sony Vaio.
Yeah.
Brand new, the battery might last 3 hours, and by the end, if it lasted about 20 minutes without being plugged in.
Okay.
So then it wasn't a laptop. It wasn't well, it was still a laptop, but it wasn't.
It's got to be plugged in all the time.
Fucking had to be plugged in. I was on the couch and it had to be plugged in and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, mine's always plugged in because I would maybe get a couple of hours, I guess, out of the battery at this point after owning it for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And to be honest, my laptop, if I'm up, my laptop's on. So,
do you plug it all? You charge it all the time then?
Yeah, it's pretty much always charging. Because they told, you can take out the battery if you want to save. If you don't want to burn the battery or drain it, plug it in, but take out the battery and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to start pulling around with my laptop and opening it up every time I want to use it and plug it in. I was like, fuck that, But, hey, I use it a lot and it hasn't died yet, so.
There's many reasons why I think they might have. They don't want people opening the phones and starting to play with it because then it voids their warranty.
Yeah,
I think they don't want to deal with that too.
Yeah,
as a company, they're like, hey, here, because Apple is pretty good. I'll be honest. My girlfriend had her first iPhone was the iPhone 4. She went to Italy and she dropped it and broke the screen on her last couple of days there. And she came back. And we went to the Apple store. It wasn't in warranty, and obviously that wasn't covered under the warranty. She didn't even buy the phone at the Apple store. She had bought it at TELUS. She went to the Apple store. They said, listen, give us your phone and $250 or no, 180. I don't remember what it was. I think it might have been 250 or 220, and we'll give you a brand new phone. You give us your phone. We'll give you a brand new phone for 200 and some odd bucks. or go back to TELUS and you're still under contract. You pay $700 for a new phone.
Yeah.
So it was still a pretty good deal, and I think they do that now. And I actually think now you can bring back. I know when I got my iPhone 5 at the TELUS kiosk, they took back my old iPhone. They gave me $140 for my phone.
Well, that's it. Me too. They gave me back money for my old phone, and it wasn't even working anymore.
Yeah. They said they didn't even care. They
Yep.
said they go online and say we give $140 for all the iPhones. My girlfriend went a few months after that, and she got $120 for the same phone. It wasn't worth as much anymore because it's a bit older. So I think every month the price goes down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But still, it's still a pretty good deal. I ended up getting an iPhone 5 with all the bells and whistles that I have had it because you have to buy an extra wire and all that bullshit.
Oh yeah, that's right. The power
It's different.
power cable's different now. The charger and everything.
You know, they have to make money somehow.
Those poor.
It's not like they're making enough
No,
money.
you know, we've got to feed their children.
Damn. But yeah, so cell phones are. What was it? I read an article that a lot of people think that it's the cause of a lot of cancer and because of the radiation from the phones and stuff. And, you know, a lot of people have, where you put your phone? You put it in your pocket, right? Fucking, you think you're going to get ball cancer soon. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Everything. And drinking out of a can gives us Alzheimer's.
You think? Yeah, the aluminum. Scare tactics so much.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
You don't believe anything.
So you just don't believe anything. Just go with the flow. Just keep doing what you do. Try to stay healthy in ways that you can control.
Yeah. So that was it. So what have you been up to?
Let's see. The hockey season started, so I've been watching a lot of hockey.
That's right.
So far, I've been trying to squeeze in games between my stupid schedule at work.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially watching some hockey, playing some hockey. I'm playing NHL 14. I'm enjoying that. Although it's hard this year, man. I've got a losing record in my season. That's pretty fucking pathetic. Losing record. Ugh.
What's the controllers harder, or
I don't know. It's just the computer's harder to play against. I'm playing on pro, and they're just shutting me down like I'm playing the '96 New Jersey Devils. Just fuck. I think Jacques Lemaire coaches every team in that game, man. I don't get it. But yeah, no, it's fun. It's a challenge. So I've been doing that and just taking it easy. Been a little lazy. And,
do you still play Grand Theft Auto, or you're done with it?
No, I've been switching between back and forth. To be honest, I've been playing a little bit more hockey, though.
Yeah?
Just watching hockey with our hockey pool in full effect here. I'm sitting in first place. My Sofa Kings are looking so fucking awesome right now.
It's early.
But it's very early. But hey, let me have my moment.
Yeah, of course. You never know, right?
Yeah, you never know. But hey, week one's been good.
You got to set the tempo for the rest of the year, and
that's it. Better off to start strong and start weak. I guess,
man.
But I mean, you want to finish strong though, and not finish weak either.
I'm like
so
8 on 14, 13. How many teams?
We're up to 13. Lucky 13 teams now in the STFU.
I'm sitting in the 8th place, and I got like 4 injuries already. So
yeah, those injuries suck. I don't know. I've been lucky. No injuries. All my rookies and prospects made their teams.
For anybody in the fantasy world, you know that injuries play, especially hockey. I don't know about. I've never played any other fantasy.
Well, football fantasy, we're doing a football one this year too, and where it's a head-to-head every week.
Yeah.
And the thing with football pools is every week you make waiver change. There's no limit to how many waiver moves you can make, and because there's so many injuries from week to week, and I think baseball pools are similar to that too, where it's just unlimited, waiver. At least depending on how people play, if they do head-to-head. So yeah, hockey pools are a little different because it would suck if you were to,
especially keeper pools.
Yeah,
you got different rules.
No, that's it. We're pretty hardcore. We got the keeper league with the cap rules and everything, and our roster spots have to be filled with NHLers. You can't just throw anybody on your team, and we got to draft guys that are under contract. Things like that. You can't.
We got a lot of rules. We're really trying to make it like we're real GMs.
Which
and
is
it's very
fun.
Interesting, and that's why I like it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't like it as much if it was just more of a free for all.
Yeah, if you just picked your players at the beginning of the year and let your roster roll and just count the points. No, but you don't want it to be unlimited waiver moves and stuff either, too, because then it's just nonsense every week. You're just changing your roster based on your injuries. So, yeah, it hurts in a keeper pool a bit when you got 3-4 guys that are out.
It's good though.
But yeah, it's
good first week for you.
Yeah,
hopefully
good first
my
week.
Team will pick up.
But yeah, it's been pretty quiet on the Flynn front. Other than
the Flynn
front. Yeah, I went to the gym this morning. Just did a little grappling. I let Steph kick my butt a bit. Yeah, that was fun.
A little bit. But yeah, I've been as disappointed. And for those who've been following the podcast, or I don't know if I spoke about it, but been spending a lot of time part of training camp for my coach, Yanni Sherbatov, who was supposed to have his first professional MMA fight tonight in Quebec. And, well, guess what? He found out yesterday, just before the weigh-ins, that the guy was going to be a no-show, and pretty disappointed about that. I don't really know any of the details, but speculation, on my part is either the guy, because I heard rumors that just 2 weeks ago, the guy was 20 pounds over, and let's face it, my coach fights at 125. When you're 20 pounds over at 125, meaning you're 145, the amount of body weight percentage you got to lose it's not like you're a 200, 220 pound guy. Right?
No, it's not like Roy Nelson losing 20 pounds in the sauna, right?
Talking about Roy Nelson, have you fucking seen Roy Nelson?
Why has he lost more weight?
Holy shit.
Really? He's looking good?
I'll show you a picture right now.
I haven't seen him since his last fight.
Anyway, I'll show you after I finish this. Anyway, long story short, my coach went through basically a 12-week and everybody out there that follow, fight, or train, or has been part of a training camp or competition knows that you can put a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time and energy, and you bring in people, especially for a pro fight. Like I was part of the training camp for the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Well, that's it, yeah. You have to forget that you put in a lot of work into that too.
Dude, it's very disappointed, but and not for Yanni, he's a new dad. You know, he's been juggling a lot, and it's his first professional fight. So they just opened the new gym, and he's co-owner of the. It's a lot of things. He's really good at juggling all those things, and he puts all the time and energy in the gym. He was always it was crazy. He was ready. He was in peak form. Shape was there. The weight was there many weeks ago. I mean, he never hovers more than over 100. He definitely doesn't hover more than 135 pounds. Yeah. He's always in peak physical shape year round. So for him, it was just getting through the training camp and getting better. Yeah. And he was a beast. I mean, I was looking forward for him to, just knocking this one out of the park for his first pro fight. And to find out that a day before the guy just decides to not show, like I said, speculation on my part is either the guy was probably still overweight by a lot of pounds, knew he was going to make weight. And let's face it, Yanni doesn't have any professional fights, but you do a bit of research on him and you quickly found out how much of a prospect he is and how much known as a wrestler, as a competitor in other amateur boxing. He's undefeated. His wrestling record in competition is top notch. Always a top 1-2 finisher in competition, and jiu-jitsu. I mean, listen, you can quickly find on the internet how good this guy really is, and you can easily psych yourself out, especially for a new guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not saying the guy chicken out at the last minute, but sometimes when you're early in your career and you got 1 or 2 fights under your belt, you sometimes want to step up in competition. For me, it doesn't matter. For some people, a fight is a fight, and I'll take any challenge, And but I don't know what happened, but it sucks. And well, hopefully, they were trying to find him a replacement. They had till 12 today, but I read on Facebook this morning that I think it was pretty. I mean, try to find a 125 pounder, which in our local area here in Quebec, there is not a lot of them. Yeah. And if they're here, if there are a few in the local area, they all know who he is, and most of them don't. They've been dodging him for months. Yeah. He's been trying to get his first pro fights for over a year, and nobody in the area wanted to fight him. Really? It was nobody wanted to have anything to do with, and I don't blame them. The guy's a beast. The guy is the top 125-pound prospect in Canada, and if he can just get it underway, his career as a professional fighter, he's going to be a beast, and he's going to be a quick top guy, not only in Canada, North America, but in his career, I believe in the world. He can easily be a top 125er in the world.
Well, maybe he'll get more opportunities in Canada. I read was a World Series of Fighting purchased
AFC.
Yeah. So maybe that'll branch things out a bit for hopefully Canadian MMA.
But there's not is it featherweight? 125.
125 would be flyweight.
Flyweights. Yeah. It's
Well, already in
not
the
that much
UFC,
fun.
there's not a whole bunch. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd have trouble rounding out a top 10. I think just out of UFC competitors
The
at
top
125.
out of the top 10 flyweights in the world, there's only I think 9 are in the UFC.
9 are in the
9
UFC
or
now.
10 are in the UFC. Like, there's not much around the world.
Not anymore.
More
no.
in Asia and stuff. I think they have a lot more. But
Well, even then, and even though I mean, we've seen it with a lot of competitors coming over from Asia, but a guy like Kid Yamamoto, who was considered a beast out in Japan, came over to the UFC. I don't know if he's even won a fight yet in the UFC.
He won one fight.
He has won a fight.
he's not in the UFC anymore. I think they cut him.
I think they were giving him another shot. I thought I saw his name coming up in an upcoming card, unless he's fighting for somebody else. But just
think?
to say, but I mean, he was considered a monster, right? Overseas, and he came over to UFC. And
My fucking Wi-Fi isn't working. Here.
yeah.
Let's show you a picture of Roy Nelson.
I want to see Roy Nelson. Now, here you go. Now everyone will get to see him.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna Google Kid Yamamoto. We should get like waiting music when we do stuff like this. We should get like elevator
How about you start
music.
singing? How about you just sing?
You know what? I was singing yesterday. Yesterday, I just wanted to get the fuck out of work, and it was really, really quiet, so I get really bored. And I can't stand working when there's nothing to do, because you can only Google so many things on the internet while you're at work, because I do that when I'm at home anyway. Yeah. And so I just started singing and dancing to annoy my coworker until she was like, just go home already. It's fine. I'll work by myself. I'm like, thank God. Because, yeah, I'm not a very good
Is
singer.
that all you have to do to go get sent home and start singing?
Well, when you're just working with one person and she's annoyed of you, yeah. I started asking her stupid questions. She's like young, 23, 24, you know, so I started asking stupid questions about clubbing and things like that. And we're listening to Virgin Radio, so it's all the clubbing tracks. So I'm just getting on her nerves.
So look at this guy.
Holy crap, look at that.
Okay, you can't see much. Forget it.
No,
guys.
you're not gonna be able
Sorry
to
about
see
that. I'm not going to get up and grab the camera, but you can Google it yourself if you're a fight fan.
So he's
Roy
getting there.
Nelson is normally a pretty big guy, and he's looking lean and mean. Like even with this T-shirt, you could tell that he's lost a lot of weight on the face, and just have to get rid of that fucking beard and
goddamn
and those
beard.
fucking,
well, Daniel Cormier asked that he have it
trimmed out,
or tied up or something
on the side. He cut his hair, I think, a little bit. You see, I think he trimmed his hair a little bit, and he said that he's looking. I think I just read something. It says Roy Nelson says he will beat Cormier, possibly go for a title shot at 205. So he is working on cutting weight at 205, which he could easily be at 205.
Yeah, well, they've been saying it for years. I mean, Joe Rogan, I know especially, is just always criticizing the fact that, you know, he's not taking.
Imagine him at 205. That means his cardio would be off the chart.
Absolutely. Already for a fat guy,
weight.
he's got pretty decent cardio. I mean, I think it was a bit better in the past. I mean, we've seen a few fights where he tires out. But still,
the last few fights, he's tired out.
Yeah.
What helps is that he can take a punch. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he is a beast. But that's why I've kind of had to scratch my head when they announced Cormier versus Nelson. Because Nelson's coming off a loss to Miocic, right?
Yeah.
His last fight. And Cormier is ranked top 3 now at heavyweight. And we know
Nelson won a fight before he beat Cormier.
Before he fought Cormier, he's won a fight since? I thought his last fight he lost to Stipe Miocic. I don't think he's won since.
My fucking iPhone. Sorry, guys. Technical issues. All right. Google Roy Nelson. Last time. Roy Nelson. Sorry about that. If you're listening,
it's okay. We can edit this anyway.
Bit boring. I don't edit shit. You get what you get. You get what you get. No, he lost. You're right. Sorry about that. He lost. He was on a 3-fight winning streak, and then he lost to Stipe. How do you say that?
Stipe Miocic.
Stipe Miocic.
I believe that's
so. Yeah, you're right. So I don't know.
Yeah, so kind of a head scratcher. And Miocic had lost his last fight before that to Stephane Struve, I think.
Yeah.
So it was kind of bizarre. So he beats a guy. He loses to a guy who lost his last fight to a guy who may not even fight anymore, since getting his jaw broken by Roy Nelson. And now Roy Nelson's fighting Cormier, who's pretty much on everyone's top 3, top 4 at heavyweight. Though he looks like he's trying to work his way down to 205 because he won't fight his buddy Kane anyway. So it's a bit of a head scratcher. But if they're both aiming to go down to 205, then I could kind of
It's like a title eliminator at 205, but at heavyweight. Which is kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Kid Yamamoto, by the way, he was fighting at 135, not 125.
No, he's a 135er.
He's a 135er.
Is he still in the UFC though?
Yeah, he's facing Ivan Menjivar, fellow Canadian, on September 21st.
Shit,
I knew he had a fight coming up. There you go, UFC 165. However, he was removed from the fight, replaced by Wilson Reyes. So either he's hurt or I don't know.
Yeah, or lazy.
Hit on Dana's girlfriend or something.
I just opened my Twitter app and I was I don't know why I was on this, but there's a Twitter tag that's called Nightclub Fails.
Nightclub fails. Oh, that could be fun.
It's pretty funny. They just post a bunch of pictures of nightclub fails, and it's
people looking horrible on the dance floor.
No, not just that. It's pretty weird, like puking.
Yeah, that was gonna be the second thing I was saying.
Like, check this one out.
Oh my god! Wow.
For the viewing pleasure here, we have a chubby woman holding a
chubby. That's a nice way of putting it. I would have called her a whale.
Yeah, she's a pretty okay. We got a fat chick holding a brunette's with brunettes here with a bunch of puke on the floor. It's disgusting.
She's holding her head up while the other one's puking.
Yeah, if you're on Twitter,
nice.
check out.
That's what friends are for. There you go. I sang for you.
Check out Nightclub Fails on Twitter. They're pretty funny. There's a few followers like that I like to follow, and just for fun like that. Keeps me entertained sometimes for hours.
It's fun to laugh.
I wouldn't say
stupidity.
hours, but
Guys, if that's entertaining you for hours, you got to find a new hobby, dude.
Yeah. Well,
start sewing or something.
You think?
Stamp collecting.
Dude, I found out some news. Maybe I'm behind a lot of things, and made my girlfriend laugh this week at work. I was on a tiny break at work, and I was on CNN.com, which is a website I visit quite frequently to stay up on my news. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all week they've had the main news thing on CNN was the whole GOP fucking thing in the States. I don't even get into it.
Shutdown,
Number one, I don't understand it much. Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Me too. I really cannot understand how the government.
I'm sorry.
The taxpayers get reimbursed if the government's not working?
I do not even know what you're talking about. I refuse to. No, I tweeted. I tweeted last week to my American friends on Twitter to explain to me what the fuck was going on, and I got a few responses, and I kind of do understand where I think they had to vote on a budget by October 1st, and it just didn't work, so now they're shutting down because a lot of the people that are shutting the government down are being paid from that budget.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Might make no sense. So American viewers, I'm sorry. I'm not interested, and I think a lot of Americans just don't give a fuck either. It's like it's just bullshit. Yeah. It's really bullshit, and I feel for the the government shutting down is like I'm in Canada. I don't even pay attention to our government, but
our government doesn't really do anything on a daily basis.
So sometimes on CNN you have the main story, which is a big main story. They had that, and they had the shooting on Capitol Hill also. Yeah. They shot and killed a woman.
Yeah, the woman who drove through the barricade. Yeah, that's a weird one too. She was unarmed. I don't understand why they shot her though.
She didn't want to pull over, so apparently
they shot her while she was still driving. I thought she came to a stop. She crashed, and then they shot her. That's kind of bizarre.
I really don't know, man. It's
shoot first, ask later.
Yeah, exactly, right. And and I was going through stories, and sometimes they have like entertainment stories, like like not Perez Hilton type thing, but that kind of stories. You know what I mean? And they had an article about. I saw a picture of Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh yes.
And it just said, little picture, and she always interested me. Like I'm a fan of her.
Really, I've always disliked her.
Yeah,
her fucking bitch face that she pulls in every movie.
She has a bitch face. She does have a bitch face. But I just thought they were talking about either Fast and the Furious or whatever it's going to be. So I was like, I'll click on the picture. But no, it was a story about how she recently came out as a
bisexual. Actually.
Yeah,
because she said men, women.
She juggles both.
She juggles both. Yeah.
So she hits. She's a switch hitter. Basically.
She's a switch hitter. Yeah. Right? There you go.
But the article had 19 other. So the article I clicked on it.
Oh yes, and then they show you the other famous celebrities.
Famous celebrities. Yeah. So I was like,
famous.
Let's look at the list of famous celebrities, and there's 2 or 3 on the list that fucking blew me away.
Really?
That I did not know were gays.
Okay, who did you not know?
Number 1.
Yeah.
Olivia from The Cosby Show. Raven Simone.
Yes, well, that was recent. In the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe she came out. So I can forgive you for not.
That was the first one that really blew my mind when I saw her face. I'm like, wait a minute. This is Olivia from The Cosby Show. So I text my girlfriend with the big OMG exclamation mark, followed by, did you know Raven Simone was a lesbo? That's my text. You know what I mean? Sorry if I'm insulting or listen, she's a lesbo. She's a lesbian, all right? Sorry. I don't know if it's like calling a small person a midget or a black man N-word, but I don't think lesbo is that bad.
I don't think it's that bad. They probably don't like it. I mean,
sorry to all the lesbos out there. Sorry.
I mean, it could be worse. You could call her a dyke.
Ooh,
that one doesn't go over so well.
A canoe licker. I like the canoe licker.
Canoe licker. That's a new one.
Munch rugger.
Rug muncher.
Rug muncher.
Yeah, I've heard that one. There's some bad ones.
Hopefully.
We're just saying them. We're not saying them and aiming them towards people. It's all within context.
We went
like George Carlin says.
From 18 listeners to 16. Because, anyway. So she was my number one where I was like, holy shit. Another one was that guy from Prison Break.
Oh, yeah.
Hemsworth? What's his name?
Yeah, I think Hemsworth is
Hemsworth. My girlfriend was in love with that guy, so when I texted her...
Yeah. A lot of women... Well, he's not a bad-looking guy.
When I texted her about Raven Simone, she's like, where did you see this? I said, an article on CNN. So she proceeded to go on CNN as we were texting back and forth, and then she saw that the guy from Prison Break was in. She was all heartbroken because he was gay. It's another one that surprised me. And who else?
Well, I thought you were going to mention Neil Patrick Harris that you didn't know he was. I was like, okay, then you've really been living under a rock.
No, fuck that. No, I knew him. This is ridiculous.
Who else? The guy from Big Bang Theory. He came out recently.
That's my number 3.
Wentworth Miller is his name.
I did not know him.
You didn't know that he was gay? But him too. It was within the last 6 months, I think, that he came out. I didn't realize. You know what? I'm more surprised that he's 40 years old than that he's gay.
What?
He's 40.
Get the fuck out of here.
He's 40.
Wow.
Yeah. So that surprised me.
And he plays a 30-some-year-old?
Yeah, I guess they're supposed to be about 30-some. I guess they're supposed to be about our
25,
age.
Though.
They look young.
What the fuck is wrong with Hollywood?
Yeah, they all
We got to move to Hollywood.
Yeah, usually it's the opposite, right? The older they look older than the characters they're playing, but in this show...
That guy from Star Trek?
Chris Pine? Oh, yeah, the guy who plays Spock.
He's gay.
Yeah, what the heck's his name again?
Pinto?
Zachary Quinto.
Quinto?
That's
what I meant.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
Yeah, look, he was born March 24th, 1973, Jim Parsons. 40 freaking years old. That surprises me more. Because he looks good for 40, man.
He looks good.
Mind you,
he's gay.
We'll be 40 soon.
They all look good.
Yeah, well,
they have a lot more time to take care of themselves.
Yeah, you know what? I've met a few slobby looking gay guys I would have never thought.
The Bears? Jeremy
no,
Bear?
Not even. No. I've never. Not even Bears. Just guys you would have never. Because the whole stereotypes. Oh, you're. If you're clean. If it's like the joke at the Comedy Central roast. Have you watched yet the James Franco one?
Yeah.
Because they're all making fun of the fact. They keep the joke is that he's gay because he's such an artist.
Yeah.
So then who was it? Aziz Ansari says, "What is it with you guys and all the homophobic jokes? What are you afraid if you're well cultured and read a book, dicks are just gonna start flying at your face?"
But there are also a lot of them that I heard also another comedian make fun of it, how a lot of the gay guys are in the best shape of their life. Like they could be football players, They're all built like a fucking, quarterback or because
Oh, I've seen some though that just work on the upper body. I used to have a couple of friends.
I've seen a lot of straight guys work on the upper body too.
I remember working with a couple of guys when I used to work at Telus.
Are you fucking kidding me?
A couple of our buddies.
From here on, you're built like a bodybuilder.
That's it.
And
wide like this, but dude, skinny little legs. Dude, you got to work out the whole body. Oh, no,
they don't waste up on the
upper
legs.
core.
It's the ugliest thing in the world, man.
Yeah, it looks weird.
It's like Hugh Jackman. When he gets jacked up for those Wolverine movies, spends a lot of time on his upper body.
On the upper body, yeah.
But his legs are like twigs.
Yeah.
They're muscular, but they're
skinny.
twigs.
Yeah.
God damn, it's ugly. Sometimes it's just how you're built. I'm built with big old three.
Yeah,
tree
you
trunks.
got big legs. I got skinny little freaking chicken legs, man.
I got big tree trunks, man.
It worries me when we start practicing kicking each other in the shin, man. I'm worried I'm gonna pull a. What was that dude's name who broke his leg in half?
Grant Hill.
Hill. What was it?
Something Hill.
Yeah.
The big tall. He's 6'5", 155 pounds. Yeah. He's a twig.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like that scarecrow guy. What's his name? He's another. He fights like almost the same. He's like 6'3", 6'4", and fights 145 pounds.
Who's that?
He beat Hominick not too long ago. His nickname is the Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow. What can I think of?
He is
Remember my name.
Gabosa. It ends with Bosa. Osa. I can't have it.
Osa.
Check who beat Mark Hominick in the last fight. He retired.
Everybody beat Mark Hominick.
He retired him.
Poor guy.
Don't say that.
I know. And it's just,
So anyway, we kept going through as you're look it up. And obviously you had the like you said, the Neil Patrick Harris was on that list, and the regular that everybody knows they're gay, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot more, But I think nowadays we live in a society where it's a lot more accepted. Number one, so I think that. A lot of them actors and
well, it's good, I mean, there's no point of staying under the closet.
I don't really understand why some of them are in the closet.
Yeah, especially these days. And you hear stories like Zachary Quinto. He was compelled to come out after reading a story about a 15-year-old who committed suicide.
Yeah.
Being bullied because he was gay. And he said, enough is enough. If we're going to set an example and kind of be a role model for people, we got to start coming out, and you can't keep
especially
it to yourself.
When you're in the public view, like actors and singers,
that's it.
and
then and then slowly, hopefully, people will start come to grips with it and just get over the whole homophobia thing.
I can't wait till the athlete starts. It's Barbosa. Barbosa, I think is his name.
Edson Barbosa.
No, Edson Barbosa is the guy that got the spinning head kick.
Yeah, that's it. That's not the same. Right? Why can't I find Mr. Harmony?
I find that I can't wait for the time where athletes are going to start coming out, because I guarantee you there's a lot of athletes in sports such as football, baseball, hockey that are gay, but that are totally in the closet.
Yeah.
And you had that basketball player a while last year or early this year that came out. He was the first professional athlete.
There's been a WWE wrestler recently who came out of the closet too.
Yes, who was that?
I've never heard of the guy. I don't even know who he is. I think he's a new guy. He's must be a young up and comer.
He's a black guy, no?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure. I don't even know what his wrestling name is. Never heard of the guy.
I don't really see the whole issue. I mean, I know, listen, you play football, it's macho. I get it. Mm-hmm. Old school mentality, but in 2013, for goddamn it, I would not have any issue playing with as part of a team if one of my teammates was gay. Mm-hmm. I would have absolutely no issue with it. I would have any issue showering with him. I'm sorry, I would not.
Yeah, I don't know. Like people say, "Oh, showering." Well,
where's he gonna come?
He's gonna come and grab your dick while you're showering. Like seriously, get over it.
Stop looking at my cock.
Yeah, hey, come on, man. I don't want you fantasizing about me.
It's really, I think, I think it's a big issue.
I'd kind of be flattered.
Yeah,
to be honest, I'll be honest. I remember one point when I worked. Pablo Garza.
That's it.
He's the scarecrow.
Yeah,
there you go.
Check his stats. He's like 6'5", 145 pounds.
But I remember once I was at work, and one of the gay dudes at work, he said, "Turn around for a sec." So what? I turned around. All right. I'm like, hey, he just checked me out. All right, that's not a bad feeling. Hey,
yeah, man.
I say,
well, fuck, man. It doesn't matter what sex it is. It feels good when you're being checked out.
Yeah, that's it. At least you're appealing to somebody. Somebody thinks you're a good-looking guy. So that's
fuck, man. I don't even get that from women because they're they're like, they don't want to look like sluts. Like, hey, let me turn around so I can check out your ass. I don't see much of that.
No, that doesn't happen often. Nobody's whistling at me while I walk down the street.
That would be awesome.
It would be fun.
People would be more open about it a little bit, But at work, I think it'd be a little bit awkward.
Yeah, that's when you get into trouble with human resources. 6'1", 145 pounds.
Oh, he's only 6'1", 145.
Well, still only. I mean, yeah, that's.
Imagine if I was 145 pounds.
Jesus,
I'm 200 pounds right now.
You're 200.
I could never get down. Not with these legs.
You'd look like
Jesus Christ.
You'd look like, remember when what's his name, the Sandman, Irwin, what the heck's his name? The guy
that got knocked out.
That light heavyweight who got
destroyed by Anderson Silva.
James Irvin.
Oh man, when he fought at 185.
When he fought at 180, he tried to drop weight 185. God, he looked like a skeleton. I mean, his cheeks.
But he was already a muscular cut at 205.
Yeah, he didn't have much fat on him.
Jesus, if any. At 185.
So then he tried to cut some weight. Fight at 185 it was just a disaster.
He got killed at 185. I remember who he fought, but
he looked horrible.
Damn.
Now Nate Marquardt looks pretty skinny at 172.
There's a lot of guys. Patrick Cote at 170. He looks not that bad, but he still looks like out of his element.
Yeah,
because he was pretty pudgy 185.
Yeah,
it's not like he was already cut.
Yeah,
he looks good, but the lightest I've been was 181. In my mature state in my competing career for a grappling tournament. It was 181. Actually went on for No, I had a fight here in amateur MMA, and I cut too much weight a little bit. I finished at 181. I was fighting at 185.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you overcut weight. Wow.
Well, no, the balance, the scale I was using at the gym was off.
Oh.
I cut to 185, and then we used one of those digital cheap scales at the weigh-in, and I was like 181.
Oh.
I was mostly like 185, but
Just the scale, probably. The digital one was
I ended up
garbage.
finding a guy that was 190. Because an amateur back then, the rules were you could be within 5 pounds of your weight.
Oh, really?
So if you were fighting at 185, you could weigh in at 190.
Okay.
Which I wasn't really aware of that rule,
Yeah.
so I cut weight. Yeah. For my second fight, I knew I was like 190.
Okay.
So I was a little bit more pudgy. You can see I have a picture there. That's me at 190 over there.
Oh, there you are in the corner.
Yeah. And
Oh, you fought in a ring. It wasn't in a cage.
no, there's no cage. The only time I fought in a cage was my first fight in Mansfield, Ohio. That was a cage.
You went to Ohio to fight.
My first ever amateur fight.
Really?
You didn't know this?
You had to go all the way to Ohio to fight an amateur fight?
Yeah, because I lived in Toronto back then. I lived
Okay.
in Mississauga, and that was back in 2007. It was still illegal.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So our team that we trained with would always go to Ohio. They used to get these amateur MMA cards and fights, and we'd always get teams of 4 or 5 guys together and go down. And I was getting ready to move to Montreal, and I told my coach, listen, before I leave, I'd like to fight for you. So I went through a training camp and found an opponent that was 0-0 and for his first pro fight too. So remember, we left on the Friday. We drove 13 hours to this Mansfield, Ohio, which is, I think, between Columbus and Cincinnati somewhere, and then the boondocks, and really like not a big city, you know what I mean? Made it there on the Friday night. I was pretty much at weight already. I'd gone through like a 10-week training camp. I was training pretty hard. I got there Saturday morning, got up, and it's amateur same day weigh-ins. So you show up around noon. You go through the medical. They do a medical test on you, make sure you're all right. Nothing too fancy. No scans, no blood work.
No,
It's
no.
like your heartbeat's all right. Yeah. Can you see that over there? Do a little test. Yeah. I ask you a few questions, and I'm like, so where's my opponent? Guy shows up at the weigh-in with a broken foot.
Oh, fuck.
I'm like, yeah, I can't fight. Sorry. Thank God. The guy was like in his mid-40s.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. I would have killed him. Oh, sorry, but I would. So I was fucking left without an opponent.
Oh, man.
Day of the fight.
10 weeks training, 13-hour drive, no opponent.
I was freaking out.
No kidding.
So I was pretty much done for the night. We had 4 more guys fighting. So I was like, all right. So I was actually on my way to the bar to get myself a drink. I'm like, I'm gonna go get myself a fucking drink and drink this night away while I watch my teammates fight, cheer them on. So I was pretty much done. And as I was walking away to get myself some beer tickets, when he ran up to me, he's like, hey, you're 185, right? You were supposed to fight at 185. Your fight got canceled. And yeah. It's like, listen, I got a 185 fight for you. And they had a championship fight as the co-main event. For the 185 pound title that night. They had 2 guys that were supposed to fight. They both showed up at the weigh-ins. One of the guys saw his opponent, chickened out, and fucking left.
No way.
Fucking left.
Oh, jeez.
So the guy was there for the weigh-ins. They both weighed in, and the other guy just fucking left, and they couldn't find him anymore. Okay. So they said, dude, you want to fight this guy?
What, the champion?
Nobody was the champion. It was for a vacant title.
Oh, okay. The title was vacant.
This guy was 6-1 amateur.
Oh, boy.
Division I wrestler from Ohio State.
Oh, fuck.
All right.
Okay.
He was built like a brick wall. He was jacked up, man. He could have easily been a 205 fighter.
Oh, boy.
There's pictures online. There's video also of me getting demolished. And so I said, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
My coach was like, I'm like, no, listen, dude, I drove 13. I need to fight.
Yeah.
So I said, fuck that, I'll fight him. So I fought. My first ever amateur fight was for a title at 185.
Wow.
I got into the cage and proceeded to start shitting my pants because that's when I knew I'm in Mansfield, Ohio. There's about 15 to 2,000 people in the crowd in this bingo hall. Bunch of hick Americans, all right? Just screaming. We're the only Canadians there. So
a lot of camouflage in the crowd, I can imagine.
They had a kiosk for the U.S. Army. They were recruiting.
They were recruiting at the show?
Dude, they had another guy that dropped out. They took a guy that worked the U.S. Army booth, and they got him to fight against one of our guys.
Oh, shit.
A guy killed him in like 30 seconds.
For real?
That guy barely had any training. That's how they do shit back then. I was like, God damn. So anyway, I get into the fucking cage, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I remember thinking as I'm getting into the cage, I'm going, I cannot jump, or I want to just jump over. It's scary.
Climb out the cage.
It's scary. So this guy came out, and I was, eyeing him, and big guy, and bell rings, and I'm like, well, this is it,
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting TKO'd in the first round, and so it was quite an experience. But yeah, I fought in a cage for the first time, and then I came to Montreal, and I fought a few times in a ring.
Okay.
So that was my amateur career. Not a very good one, but I didn't have the I'm the way better fighter than I am now than I was back then.
Yeah.
Like I'm up here when I was down there. I was just not ready to fight. I wasn't going through the proper. I have more knowledge on fighting now, and with the team that I'm at right now, I'm way more comfortable.
So you're saying we should book you for a fight soon?
Well, you know what? If I keep training like this, I'd love to fight. I'd love to fight.
Cool.
I don't know, amateur MMA if it's still available, or maybe a few amateur boxing fights, or just some competition.
Yeah.
I need to get some competition out of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was me. That was my first fight in a cage. So it was an experience. It's scary.
Yeah, no kidding. I can only imagine.
You test yourself. That's for sure.
I know. Just when we're at the gym, I just look at the cage from the outside. It's like, oof. Like there's something intimidating about it.
I love to train in the cage, and yeah, you're right. It's something. You're an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
When you think MMA fighter, you think cage fighting.
Yeah.
It's still people that call it cage fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, man. But it was all fun and games until somebody get hurt.
Yeah.
It's easy to get hurt, but thankfully, and I haven't gotten any serious injuries. I'm still alert and well.
Broken nose was the worst you've got?
Broken nose, and I got that in practice. I got that in training.
That was in training.
Yeah, man. Nothing serious. I got a few black eyes, obviously, but I've never been knocked out. I've never been I've had my bell rung a few times.
You've never seen stars?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you have, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've gotten hit hard by big guys, big heavyweights, 260 pounds.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, man. I trained with one of the pros we have at our gym, and he's a 260 pound guy. Yeah, I train with him. Really good guy. Some good work,
Mm-hmm.
You learn your technique when you're training with these 200 some odd guys.
Yeah,
you can't use your strength because you got none.
Because that won't be the upper hand. That's for sure.
You learn a lot about yourself when you're competing. There's a thing about competing that just you get to dig in. Competition, like especially combat sports.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're a chess player.
No.
And you got to use your brain. It's not like I played team sports all my life.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey, baseball, basketball, and you rely on your team. You have to play as a unit. You have to play as one. You rely on your teammates to win.
Mm-hmm.
You get the rare where you got this superstar on your team where like it can win by itself. With the guy, but you're still part of a team. You still have to do something. But when you're in the fight business, when you're doing combat sports, it doesn't matter how much training you put in. Obviously I'm part of a team. I train with other guys. I have my coaches. But when that bell rings and you're in that cage, your coaches are outside. You're inside.
That's it.
You gotta apply now.
Nobody's physically helping you.
Yeah. No, man. And it's
all you.
And it really. Listen, it takes a special. And I'm one of them. But it takes a special kind of person to accept the fact that you got to go up there in a cage or in a ring to fight another human being.
Yeah.
You're fighting somebody that's been training as hard, or if not harder than you, to physically do damage to you, and you've been doing the same thing. So you going in there, it's not like it's a bar fight where it's like spur of the moment, somebody fucking pisses you off in a bar and you go into this black rage and you fucking start swinging, there's the anticipation of fighting another human being, fisticuffs and kicks. It's bone to bone. You're gonna try to kick, you're gonna try to hurt somebody. It fucks with your psyche sometimes when you're in there and you go, man, like, I don't know this person, but I have to physically kind of tell myself, like, for the next 15 minutes, I fucking hate you to the point where I want to put my fist through your brain as hard as I can. And I want to physically hurt you. But when it's done, I'll shake hand and I'll be like all respectful, because that's the name of the game. You know? You really have to. it transforms you, but it teaches you many things about yourself. I don't think there's any other competition than combat sports, especially mixed martial arts or boxing. When you get in the ring and you get ready to fight another human being that's been putting the discipline and the time, hopefully, as much as you, all the blood, all the sweat they put into fighting, and you get into that cage or in the ring to fight somebody else, whew, man, you're overcome by a shitload of emotions.
Yeah.
But when you're done with it, though, there's no winning. Obviously, is when you fight or compete in combat sports, grappling tournaments or anything. Man, when you win, man, it feels good. But when you lose in a fight, you are crushed. I remember when I lost, it was devastating. Oh man, it was devastating. The disappointment I felt, by just I thought I let everybody down, even though it's really hard, and it builds a lot of character, and it's helped me, grow as a human, mature as a human, especially the martial arts factor, the respect thing, and the especially the team that I'm part of now, Sherbatov MMA. It's tremendous, but. Man, when you get in there and you train and you hit each other in the face, at the end of the round, you're like, hey, good job, and even in training. But when you're in there, man, you're like, you want to do your best, and it's a competition. But you're not relying on any teammates. This isn't baseball. You're not relying on your quarterback like football. You're in there and you're like, oh, damn, I got my legs, I got my fists, and I'm going to try to kill you, basically. Not really, but I'm going to try to hurt you till you quit. Or till the referee pulls me off of you. You got to be a special kind of person because it's not meant for everybody.
No, BJ Penn said, to the death.
To the death, George. To the death, George.
I'm a big BJ Penn fan. And
you're a big BJ Penn fan, really?
I'm a top 3 fighters of all time is Chuck Liddell, George St. Pierre, and BJ Penn.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't put Anderson Silva in your top 3 of all time?
Top 5.
Really?
Yeah. Anderson Silva is like number 4. I've always been a fan of how BJ Penn goes out there and just he's a fighter.
Yeah.
I have a bit of respect for that. But when he fought GSP, my good old GSP, that was my favorite. That was my guy, and how he disrespected him. Just I think market the fight maybe a little bit, or maybe he meant it, but I didn't like him at that moment.
Wow.
I thought he was an ass. To the death, George.
To the death.
I am George, but George is George. George is like the nicest human being, fighter you'll ever meet in your life. So humble and like it's crazy. I was not impressed by your performance. It always stuck with me as when he came into the ring with Matt Hughes.
Yeah.
I am not impressed by your performance.
That was after he beat Frank Trigg, I think. Was it?
No, after he beat BJ Penn.
Oh, it was after he beat BJ.
Yeah. It was supposed to be George versus Matt Hughes, and then George got hurt. So Matt Hughes ended up against BJ, and BJ
and that's why George showed up
destroyed,
in the ring.
And he went in, and he's like, I was not impressed by your performance. How many times did they play that fucking line? They still play up to that day. It's like a highlight reel.
Oh, for sure. That audio clip is up
horrible.
There.
He's
that's up there with Vanderlei's. I want to fuck Chuck. I want to fight Chuck.
I never saw that.
You've never seen that
No.
one? When Vanderlei first signed, when he came over from Pride, when they bought him out, and Dana brings him into the ring, and he was supposed to shoot this promo.
Oh my God! And he said,
and he combined fight and Chuck. So he says, I want to fuck Chuck. I want to fight Chuck. That's a good one.
There was a big brawl there last weekend at Mr. Olympia thing between
I'm thinking that was staged.
Sonnen and even Sonnen said it was staged.
Really? Yeah.
He said it was staged on Vanderlei's part.
Because he showed up with a crew and a camera.
Hey, let's go. There's Sonnen. Let's go egg him on and let's go pick a fight with the thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad fight for Vanderlei.
Yeah, he's not going to win that fight.
Vanderlei is not going to win any fights. Against top competition. No. And Sonnen, want it or not, he might be 0-3 in championship fights, but
he's proven that he's more than just.
He's a fucking fighter, man.
Fighter.
He's a top fighter. He's never won the big ones, but you know what? He's gonna crush Vanderlei. I don't think it's even a competition. No. He's gonna double leg that motherfucker, and that was it.
He's not gonna keep standing. He's not gonna, and he's not stupid enough to just stand there and get into a punching match between him and Vanderlei where they're just going to swing wildly. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Fuck,
you won't get suckered into that,
man. Another thing I wanted to talk about that I've been paying attention to now that the hockey season started. Mm-hmm. This whole debate on fighting after the whole Paros and.
I think that's a little crazy. I mean, Paros didn't get a concussion because he got knocked out with
accident.
a punch. It was a freak accident. He fell on his face.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, guys could fall on their face at any time in a game. Yeah. A blade came up in the game. I was watching a game the other night. I think it was Vancouver was playing, and a skate came up. A guy got tripped up, and basically it was against Phoenix. And the guy got the skate almost in the face, and he was wearing a visor. So, but I mean, had it cut him, and a Richard Zednik moment. I mean, what? So now we'll make the blades not sharp? I mean, what are you going to do? It's a freak accident.
It's going to be a rollerblade now.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's put rollerblades on them. Can we figure out a way to make a rubber blade? So yeah, I could understand if Colton Orr knocked out Paros and hit him with a punch, and he just keeled over and hit his head on the ice without his helmet on. But it was a freak accident.
He got pulled down and he fucking landed on his chops. That's all that happens. Now the GMs, there's like 5 or 6 GMs that want. Listen, here's my point of view on this. I don't think hockey needs fighting as part of the game. I think I don't think that the hockey would die if, would completely die off if fighting wasn't part of it. I think they can manage. But on the other side, you'd get a lot of players that wouldn't have a job anymore.
Yeah. And you'd have a lot of, people.
And then you would have the fucking Bergerons, or who's that fucking player in Boston that's always Marchand. You'd have these players. Well, that's like they're basically a free ticket to just be a bitch for the rest of their career.
Exactly, and that's the old cliched response to it, is that there would be no discipline, there would be no self-policing on the ice, keeping these guys in check, for the Matthew Barnabys and the Sean Averys of the past, who weren't really able to get away with too much without having to pay the piper in the form of a fight at one point.
If you knew that nobody's going to bash your skull in, or even try to, then you'd be fucking. These players would be
Matt Cooks, guys like that. And
damn,
I was listening on the radio this week. They were talking about a player that came over from Europe and had spent the year playing in Europe, or a couple of seasons playing in Europe, and saying, you have no idea how dirty the game is out in Europe because there is no fighting. Like, if you fight in the KHL, you automatically get suspended for a game, you get kicked out of the game. But there's so much dirty, cheap shots, whether it's slashes and...
because nobody polices that.
Yeah, and spearing and stuff like that. Exactly, so it keeps them in check, and that's the old cliche, but I think it is true. But watch any hockey game, when a fight breaks out, the stands... people stand, I should say. The fans stand up and cheer along. Nobody's booing during a fight.
No.
So it may not be necessary for the game to continue and stay popular, but you know what? It's not hurting. And it probably does help fill a couple of more seats in the arena in cities where hockey's not the number one priority.
Yeah, but the way the game is being played now, there's already a lot less fighting than there used to be.
Yeah. I think so. There may be a little bit more. I don't know. I'd have to look at the numbers, but it seems like it's picked up again over the last couple of seasons. Maybe it kind of disappeared for a little while.
I think it's because a lot of them protect their star players. There's so many more star players per team now.
That's true, especially, and it's the younger stars.
The quality of the players are...
Yeah, there's a lot of rookies. The McKinnons, the Drouin, well, not Drouin this year. He was sent back down. But the McKinnons and the Crosbys, the Ovechkins, the Landeskog's, whoever the case may be, the Taylor Halls, the John Tavares, they're coming into the league and making an impact right away.
Yeah.
So, and you want this guy to have a long, prosperous career for your franchise. So, obviously, the team's interested in keeping him safe. The coach, the GM, and the owner especially want to do that as well. So, they're adding the extra guns that they need to compete and protect their players. But look at the division here, the Atlantic division that the Habs are in. It was an arms race this year as to who's going to be able to compete with the Bruins and the Senators in Toronto as far as toughness is concerned. You look up and down that division, and between Ottawa having guys like John Scott and then
Buffalo.
Buffalo, having John Scott, and Ottawa having guys like Greiba.
They brought another guy in. I don't remember.
And
his
name.
But even Boston,
Toronto's loaded with goons.
But then you look at a team like Detroit, and the system there, they refuse to bring in guys like that.
But their division, the past
they're
division.
part of the division.
Now they are. And things may have to change now when they're playing.
Now that, but who's in charge there? The coach doesn't believe in bringing in anything they don't want, but even the owners or the GM. Who's GM in there?
GM is Kenny Holland.
Yeah,
and your owner is Mike Ilitch, the guy from Little Caesars Pizza there.
They don't believe in that system. They haven't believed in it for years. But now
Ilitch was owner back in the 80s when Bob Probert was standing up for Joey Kosar and Bob Probert were playing side by side. But the GM, it's a certain mentality, but it's that division they've been playing. They were playing in up until this season. I mean, Chicago didn't really have any bruisers. Look at teams like Columbus and St. Louis. They weren't known for having rough and tough fighters. But then you look maybe out in the Pacific Division with Vancouver and San Jose, Anaheim, maybe a couple more. Maybe not so much San Jose, but I know Anaheim for a couple of years were.
Well, they had Perros for
they had a lot of tough guys on that team when they won the Cup too. When Brian Burke was in charge, they had a lot.
In Toronto this year, they added a lot of toughness.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of the younger guys like Frazier and what's the other one? Anyway, they got a Franson.
Yeah.
And, of course, Colton Orr, obviously. Yeah. And, they've got a few more guys in the minors just
and look at Clarkson. He might be suspended, but he's a tough guy.
And Clarkson, too. Forgot about him because he's out for 10 games because he was an idiot and jumped off the
But he's
the bench.
He's a good player, plus he's a guy.
And that's what you're going to see more of, I think.
You're going to see more of the
Ginlas
where they can score 50 goals, but they can also drop the glove. Le Cavalier even, I think, drops the glove a few times.
Yeah, he's done it a few times. Well, I'll never forget when Tampa played Calgary in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah,
and both captains went toe to toe. That was awesome. But I'd finished Bob Probert's autobiography a couple of weeks ago, and he talks about the fact that the goon per se didn't really exist even back in his day, up until a certain point in the 80s when all of a sudden you saw the Stu Grimsons and guys come.
The guys that barely knew how to skate.
Who barely had to skate. And now you can make that same comparison with guys like John Scott or whoever the case may be.
How many points has John Scott gotten in his career?
I don't know. You could probably count them on one hand.
He plays 4 minutes a game?
That's it. 4, 5, 6 minutes, and that's it. But back then, a guy like Bob Probert was able to score 30-something goals. The guy made the freaking All-Star team. But fuck, he was feared.
Who was the big rivalry with Bob Probert? Was
Ty Domi.
Ty Domi. I mean, Ty Domi could score some goals too.
He wasn't a horrible hockey player. No, I mean, he was just amazing with him was how small he was, but he had such a hard head.
Damn, man.
And like Probert will say, and I think anybody you could agree too, as far as the fighting game's concerned, there's always an advantage to your size. So if you're a small guy, you can have certain advantages because you're smaller. If you're bigger, so it works the same way with anything. So that's what Probert said. It was hard to fight Ty Domi because he was so small and he'd come in with those compact punches. And he had a hard freaking head.
In my opinion, fighting has always been part of the hockey game forever.
But goons per se didn't exist. And maybe if we can eliminate the goons, that'd be. But
I think goons went from having players that could fight to goons that couldn't play.
Yeah, the early 90s,
and then when the new rules came about after the strike, then the goons were kind of eliminated.
Yeah, fighting kind of disappeared for a little bit, and they said, "Oh, it's the new NHL."
But they don't even have the instigator penalty anymore.
No, they still do. But it's rarely reinforced. It seems. You don't see it too often.
So how do you think they can fix?
Well, that's why you see these. Well, that's why you see these fixed fights. There's no instigator, right?
You agree with the fixed fights?
No, those are the stupid ones.
Yeah. They're like, hey, you want to fight? Yeah, let's go. And then the whistle blows and they drop the
exactly. And that's where it's all for show. It seems it's just there's no
for show. Like it's like the fight in what was that game they had recently? They had was it Toronto? Did Toronto and Buffalo play?
Toronto, no, they haven't played each other yet. Buffalo played Ottawa yesterday. The thing.
So you're expecting them to drop the gloves at a certain point because of what happened in the preseason with Kessel and John Scott.
Oh, yeah.
But they're just basically going to drop the glove just for like, okay, now we're done. We're good. Okay, move on. So it's like a stage fight.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to run over one of my star players and I'm going to come to the rescue of that star player.
Because then you're going to get the instigator penalty. That's when you'll see the instigator penalty called, and that's why you don't see it as often.
Because there's a lot of stage fighting.
Yeah, and so you'll see the stage fighting.
And this fucking new rule about taking their helmets off is ridiculous.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Do you remember in the preseason where they were taking off each other's helmet? They said, "Oh, we found a loophole to it," but it looked.
They didn't even go with that. They get an extra 2 minutes if they take off their helmet.
They're supposed to. Well,
they did.
Moen got into a fight, and they each got 2 minutes for taking off their helmets.
Yeah.
However, I was watching another game the other night. It was the Edmonton Phoenix game, I believe, or it was Edmonton Winnipeg. Sorry, and it was a fight. Can't remember who it was, but he kind of was able to took off his helmet, but in a way was kind of discreet. So it kind of looked like as he was fighting, the helmet flew off, but and the rest didn't catch on. They didn't give him a penalty. And the announcers were like, I wonder if they're going to give him a 2 minutes. He took off his helmet. But I guess the way he did it, he was able to get away with it.
New rules in the NHL too this year, the hybrid icing.
Hybrid icing, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's to the discretion of the linesman though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's good to, if it can save a couple of players' careers, if it can save a couple of guys from getting freaking crushed from behind or whatever the case, or
I don't have a problem with that rule.
Or tripped up under the skates. You hate seeing that shit happen where you kind of get slew-footed.
More space behind the goal too this year.
Is there really?
A little bit more.
A little bit more?
More room
really
to maneuver, which is good for a few players.
Yeah.
Like the Crosbys and might get more points this year.
Imagine Gretzky if he had more room behind the net. What he could have done.
There was already more room. It's been advanced a few times since his playing days.
Yeah, that's it. I think
Size
it was only about. I think he only had about a foot and a half before.
It's like
the skates sideways to get behind the net.
Fuck yeah, man!
You get the straddle.
Back when the nets were squared. Back in is that old days, like right in the old days, where it was like almost like this is your net here, and then drops back.
Yeah.
Hard slap shot, then the net
would just tip right over. But no, I don't know. They don't have to change much else. I mean, hybrid icing, I think, was just a matter of time. Fighting, they may not be able to get rid of it because the players don't want to get rid of it.
I don't think so.
A couple of years ago, there was a survey done. I think it was 97% of the players agreed with fighting. Did not want fighting taken out of the game. 97%.
And it's because most of them aren't fighters when they feel they need protection.
They need, exactly. But do you think any of those players are changing their mind because George Parros slipped and fell on his face?
They don't really give a fuck. I'll be honest with you. I feel bad for Parros. He's brought into Montreal for the simple reason to do exactly what he did twice in that game, and he fucking falls on his face, and he's probably out for a long time now with the concussion.
It should be only about 4 weeks, hopefully.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, thankfully.
So it's not that serious.
No, well, that was the concern, was whether he broke his jaw or had any damage, if there's any bone chips or fragments and stuff like that. But no, it was just a concussion.
Oh, just a concussion.
Just a concussion.
Put some ice on that. If this had happened 10 years ago, he'd be playing the next game.
Yeah, and here
like, fuck that
2 extra strength Tylenol.
What does concussion mean?
Get on the ice.
I don't even know what that word. I don't know. The word didn't exist back then.
That's it. Too many syllables. I don't pay attention to words with more than 2 syllables.
So the rule should be, if you can't say concussion, probably because you got concussion or you got too many concussions.
Yeah,
bitch. Hey, it's my 10th concussion. Concussion.
Yeah.
I got some concussions. Why did I have a? I won't say that. I have a somewhat of an accent right now. I'm imitating a black person, so I'm not trying to be racist or anything. So
yeah, you're offending lesbians, black people.
I'm just all over the place today. I'm just creating a lot of hate. So anyway, that's my take on the hockey situation. I'm excited that it's back, but
you knew people it was gonna be. Well, they predicted it right away at the intermission. They were talking about how no matter how great this game is, it's gonna be in the headlines. It's gonna be on the cover of the newspapers tomorrow. George Parros flat on the ice or on a stretcher, and that's exactly what happened. But you know what? I don't think it'll really have any long term.
But I just find that the like you said that it's like if he would have got a fucking slap shot to the face or some reason, what are you gonna try to find out to outlaw?
That's it. Let's make the puck softer.
Like it makes absolutely no sense. He didn't get punched in the head and then got knocked out.
The day somebody gets knocked out, goes flat on the ice, bangs his head, blood starts coming out of his ear, then
he starts convulsing.
Then you're like, oh. Then you'll start seeing.
Then the camera guys will be like, God.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to a commercial.
Like PK said, though, I think he said that. He said you could easily jumped over the bench, slipped, and then fell on your face coming on the ice and have the same exact result. Well, you got to walk through the door now? You can't jump over the bench?
Exactly. No, freak
ridiculous.
Accidents happen.
I think it was already a hot button issue with fighting, and this was used as a kind of a gateway into that discussion.
Yeah, just feed the flames.
And you get guys like fucking Steve Yzerman and all these GM thinking it should be taken out.
You know what? Steve Yzerman should not fucking talk.
No, man.
Because if Bob Probert and Joey Kocur weren't playing with fucking Steve Yzerman back in the 80s,
he would have been
him in his little frame.
His knees would have been taken out a long time ago.
You're damn right.
Good fella style.
And as far as Steve Yzerman is concerned, I was starting to doubt his abilities as a general manager.
Yeah?
Between buying out Vinny LeCavalier just to sign Valerie Filppula for $5 million, who played only 11 or 12 minutes the other night, by the way, scored a goal, but just to say how important he is.
Yeah.
$5 million, give him a dozen minutes. And sending Drouin back down to juniors before even giving him his 9 games.
Yeah, that I didn't understand.
What, you couldn't fucking play him 1-2 games just to see what he can do?
That was a big surprise.
Really surprising. When's the last time you've seen a second overall pick not play?
At least take his 9 games.
At least. So,
but what was the issue, you think?
They said
they couldn't fit him in the line or anything?
Yeah, they were talking about the fact that they wouldn't have been able to give him enough minutes on the top 2 or 3 lines, and having him on the 4th line served no purpose. Blah, blah, blah. Give him a shot at least.
He's a center, no?
Is Drouin a center? Between Drouin and McKinnon, one's a center, one's a winger. I always confused the two. I think Drouin's a center.
No, I think McKinnon is a
Is he?
center.
So then what's the problem? If I said, okay, if it was centers, maybe they got too many centers. But even then.
You got to give him his You got to give him his minutes. Give him a try. Give him a game or two.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not too convinced as to what between those two decisions. I'm starting to have my doubts. And as much as I love Stevie Yzerman, I think it's very hypocritical of him to start opening up about not wanting fighting in the game.
Does it worry you that he's in charge of Team Canada?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because no, he's a left wing there. That's right, Jonathan Drouin's left wing. So I don't know what the problem is. Why can't you play him
on a 3rd line even?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a centerman, okay. You don't have room to play him center. You can't play any other position. But if he's a winger, just stick him on the left wing, right wing. I mean, they're really loaded in the left wing. They can't fit him in. I don't know. The only winger who's guaranteed a spot on the first line, I think, on that team is Marty St. Louis.
Yeah,
it's freaking a free for all as far as I'm concerned for the rest of the roster.
Couldn't name you the other left.
Well, they worried about him taking Malone's spot, really? I don't know.
Fucking Malone.
But what were we saying? What was the question you asked me? Sorry, we got distracted.
I remember. My brain is
my ADD's kicked in.
I'm done.
It's a good thing we weren't punching each other.
This energy drink did this magic for about 15 minutes, and then after that, you
getting the crash now, the sugar crash.
It's got 5.
No, actually, there's no sugar in that one. I heard.
No sugar. Yeah, no sugar. No sugar, and then you have the blue bottle, which is different. It says 53 grams of sugar. So I put it back. This energy drink's a big debate about. When I was younger, I used to drink them. I used to think they were delicious.
Yeah.
I used to think they help.
Yeah.
Now the whole science behind it suggests that they're horrible for you.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with it. It's like there's so much ingredients.
Yeah, it's like hard for your system to break everything down or something along those lines. And it damages your liver too.
Your body's working so hard to filter all these ingredients, all this extra vitamin shit that you're just pissing out basically 90% of the things in it.
You think your pee is going to be the same color as the can?
That'd be awesome.
That would be fun. Like you ate
like a fluorescent
pound of asparagus.
The smell. Ew.
Yeah.
And, it's got 170 milligrams of caffeine, which is probably the equivalent of a venti coffee at Starbucks.
Oh, boy.
Because apparently venti has a lot of Starbucks coffee has a high dose of caffeine.
Really?
Very strong coffee. It's 170 milligrams. It says when something that you can buy in a store says do not drink more than, what does it say here? I think it minimizes the amount. Okay, do not consume more than 2 cans per day.
2.
So this is already 473 millimeters.
That's a lot.
Milliliters.
Yeah, 2.
You got so there's no nutritious value in here. You got sodium a little bit. You got 0.2 grams of protein, which is I don't know. You got 220% of the daily intake of vitamin B6.
Okay.
And you got 600% of vitamin B12.
Wow, you need that B12.
So what do you think your body's doing with the 500% over? It's pissing it out.
It's pissing out that extra 400%.
Not to think that if I had any food with vitamin B12 in my diet before I drank this, then you'd piss it out even more.
Yeah.
So really, I don't know why I bought this today. I was thirsty. I didn't want to drink a coffee.
I'm telling you, it's because you've been watching those Jay and Dan podcasts. And they're always cracking open those cans of NOS.
They are, and they drink it like crazy.
They do. I love how they open that can. It sounds like they're opening a beer. But I remember what you had asked. You had asked if I was worried about Steve Yzerman being the GM for Team Canada.
That's right.
And I will say no, because you don't really need those role players. And I think me or you could be the general manager of Team Canada. I don't think
the easiest decision.
It's just they're going to do it. When you're assembling a team of all-stars, they're going to win the game for you. It's not going to be Steve Yzerman who's going to be getting much credit. I mean,
who's coaching? Is it still Detroit?
They got Babcock's coaching alongside with who did they got? Did they have Lindy Ruff on the team? I'm trying to remember who they were.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Lindy Ruff is one of them, and
Yeah.
is it Hitchcock? I'm trying to remember. I'll have to look it up. But I know Mike Babcock obviously is. You can't go wrong with Hitchcock. I'm sorry, but he looks like a pedophile.
He looks like a
kind of looks like a pedophile.
fat pedophile.
Fat pedophile. Okay, it's not just me who thinks that.
Of course not.
Okay, thank God.
God damn, man.
He does though. At least he got rid of the mustache.
Huh?
Or maybe he grew it back. I don't know. In Canada coaching stuff. Let's find out. So Mike Babcock again to coach. Yes, we know that.
I'm going through my notes here trying to see if,
Yeah. Did we miss anything today?
Nah, I didn't write much notes. This is how when I write things down. So one of the notes I wanted to talk about was the
Lindy Ruff and Claude Julien.
Claude Julien. That's
Julien, yeah.
from the Boston.
Yeah, can't go wrong, I guess.
Boom.
Mr. Potato Head. Dun,
Mr.
dun,
Potato
dun,
Head.
dun. So we got the potato head instead of the pedophile. And Babcock, he's got the pure Canadian accent. When you hear him talk,
Yeah,
he's suey.
he's from Montreal, isn't he?
He went to school in
McGill.
McGill, but he's probably from Saskatoon or Moose Jaw or something.
Moose Jaw, eh?
He's a real Canadian, eh?
Eh?
Well, we oh do.
I'm from Moose Jaw, eh?
Moose Jaw.
Why does that sound familiar? I heard something about
Moose Jaw. Oh, well, Bucci's team's from Moose Jaw. He's got the Moose Jaw
A-bombs.
Yeah.
So any
former
UFC fights is coming up soon? Cain Velasquez versus
we got
Santos.
Velasquez dos Santos 2's coming up. I don't know. I really like Dos Santos, so it's hard to.
I don't like him.
It's really.
Nah.
It's hard to be to not be biased when
You like somebody?
previewing. Yeah, especially I mean, I'm not a huge Kane fan.
No.
No, I mean I respect the guy, and obviously his cardio is
Top
off the
notch.
charts.
Being a
his
wrestler,
wrestling's pretty badass, but I just love watching Junior Dos Santos and his striking. He's just so fun to watch for a heavyweight who can punch.
Yeah, he can definitely
the fluidity
destroy
that he has. Still like to see some of his jiu-jitsu game, though. I hear it's not too shabby, but we haven't really seen much of it.
I don't like him for that fact that most of the time you just see his striking abilities.
Yeah.
I'm a MMA fan. I like to see guys mix it up,
Yeah.
take chances.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, and he hasn't. Well, you can't blame him for kind of playing it safe in his last. He won.
No. I'm not saying that. But he didn't play that safe. He knocked out Mark Hunt with a spinning heel kick.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, he did go for it.
Damn.
He did go for it in the last round. That's true.
And he did a few shots
Yeah.
in that fight.
Yeah.
Mark Hunt is no.
But yeah, you knew he wasn't gonna. You can't blame him for not going toe to toe right off the bat with a guy like Hunt, who's got as much power as he does. So he fought smart. But then it's true. He sees his opportunity, and the killer instinct
Dragged him in deep waters and
in.
finished him.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens in their third match already.
I'm just afraid that this is going to turn into like Cain Velasquez 4 versus Junior Santos 4 and then 5. And there's no, because who else is there in the heavyweight division?
Overeem's basically falling off
we're
the map.
falling into another Tim Sylvia, Andre Arlovsky
Seriously,
era.
yeah. Do we really need to see them
We
fight
were-
over and over and over again?
We were so excited for the past a few years ago when the heavyweight division was finally becoming what the heavyweight division should have been, you know? Then get all these fighters and all these big monsters that were, really good, and you had so many top-notch fighters, and Velasquez and the Junior Dos Santos and the Crow Cop and the Gabriel Gonzaga and the Couture and the Lesnar and the blah, and you can go on for days.
Yeah.
And now Lesnar's not there anymore, and Couture's not there anymore, and Crow Cop ain't there anymore. Not Crow Cop would ever amount to much
No,
in
not in the
heavyweight
UFC
division.
anyway. The UFC never really.
And then you got a bunch of gatekeepers like Pat Barry and Czech Congo is not even in that fought last night in Bellator.
Yeah, Bellator, he won.
He won.
Yeah. Well, you got Travis Brown. We'll see what he can maybe do.
But I
he's still
can't see
young.
him taking that fucking step to fight a guy like Velasquez.
You know
I
what?
think it's because Velasquez is just and Dos Santos
Are not that much better
are
than
like
everyone else.
here, and then everybody's just down
Well,
here.
yeah, and then you got like a guy like Frank Mir, who we were talking about Kenny Florian earlier today. We knew about the fact that he was good, but never good enough to win a belt. I mean, same thing with
Well,
Frank.
he did
Mir.
win the interim.
He
fight.
did, yeah, then. But I mean, now he's got no chance. And
Was it the interim when he broke Tim Sylvia's arm? That wasn't even a championship fight. I don't
no,
think
that
so.
wasn't for the title. I think Arlovsky was champ when Mir fought
Sylvia,
Fat Sylvia, as I like to call him. Fat Sylvia.
the ugly, one of the most awkward looking fighter.
And a horrible nickname.
Tim
the Maniac, spelt like the state of Maine, where he's from. Maine-EAC, IAC. That's how he spells
the
it.
Maniac.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking lame. But what I was going to say about the whole UFC heavyweight division is, my favorite fighter of all time, anybody who knows me, is Fedor Emelianenko, who never got to fight in the UFC, but when he was destroying people before he had his little losing streak at the end of his career and decided to call it quits, it was, he's beating a bunch of cats. He's not,
No, he's
the best are in the UFC. Same thing when he was in Pride. Blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Last time I checked, look at the top 10 and tell me how many of those guys were in the UFC 5 years ago.
None of them.
Frank Mir.
He defeated a lot of fighters in Pride. Don't get me wrong.
And I'm sorry, but that, and whether there was steroids and shit or whatever the case may be, that was the
I don't think Fedor was on any steroids.
He wasn't. Maybe his competitors were, but he wasn't. That's for damn sure. He's never been buff, It's just a machine. He's like a cyborg. He's a Russian experiment.
It's a perfect example of when Fedor was destroying all these fighters. Who was champion in the UFC? Tim Sylvia.
Exactly.
And what happened in Tim Sylvia when he faced Fedor towards the end of his career?
Yeah.
He got
demolished in 40 seconds. Yeah. So I'm sorry. It's just because I go on those Sure Dog message boards, and I just, people love to hate on, or at least used to love to hate on Fedor, talking about the fact that he fought Canada and whatnot. But you know what? I'm sorry, but the UFC heavyweight division,
no.
If they didn't,
but he did fight.
If
a
guys
lot
didn't
of
come out from Strikeforce, think about it: Verdun, Overeem, though, but Daniel Cormier, Josh Barnett. These guys are coming in and they're beating the
Josh
UFC.
Barnett might be a good. If he can put like a 3-fight winning streak on, he could easily be fighting for the champion.
Oh, for sure. And I'm still waiting for Verdun to get a crack at it.
Whatever happened to him?
I don't know. He's just gone so long between fights because he did the Ultimate Fighter Brazil with Nogueira, and then he beat Nogueira, but that already seems like it was ages ago. He beat him in the spring. I can't even remember.
Did he beat him? I thought he got injured.
No. He beat him. He made him tap. Submitted him. Nogueira's finished. But now, I don't know. When's he going to fight next? He's fought... His last 3 fights were against, he fought Mike Russo before that, and he beat Roy Nelson, and then he beat Nogueira. But, those 3 fights are over the span of, 2+ years. The guy's got to be more active, but fuck, they can't give him a fight. They were hyping up Overeem, thought Overeem would be the next big thing. He got demolished.
Too many of these guys get hyped up and they don't make it.
Yeah, Bigfoot Silva's another non-UFC guy who's come in and he's in the top 10. So I'm sorry, but these are all non-UFC guys a few years ago, and the same guys that Fedor was fighting, and the ones that he lost to, they're in the top 5 in the UFC. So it's hypocrisy. It's just haters are gonna hate.
You're
haters are gonna hate, but I don't know. So I don't know. We got a long way to go before anybody is up there with Fedor, as far as I'm concerned, though.
You think?
Because if the title's just going to go back and forth every 2 fights, and we're going to have a rematch after rematch and rubber match after rubber match.
You can't really contest the fact that, or you can't really make a fighter be the best in the world if he's only fighting 2 or 3 of the same guys all the time.
Exactly.
Because once you fight somebody 2 or 3 times, you get his number. It's it's like, fuck, man. You can beat him every time now. Yeah. You're only fighting the same guys, And I don't want to see that happen where it's always going to constantly be a rematch every 2-3 fights between him and Junior Dos Santos for the next 5 years. Yeah, that would suck for the UFC, and people don't want to see.
No, eventually they'll stop paying for those fights. You're going to have to put them on Fox because nobody's going to pay for a pay-per-view to see Velasquez Dos Santos 5.
I think the heavyweight championship is going to lose a lot of its value too. It's like,
Anyway, I think Velasquez will win once again, and I think that'll put to rest the.
But then what happens to Junior Dos Santos? He starts fighting as a gatekeeper?
Well, then he's got to fight another couple of fights. If he gets a little win streak going and Velasquez still has the title, I'm not seeing any
new heavyweights coming into the UFC right now.
No, it won't be Travis Brown or Stipe Miocic.
There's no up-and-comers like the other divisions, like in the 170s and the 145s.
No, there's no 23-year-old heavyweight phenoms right now. That's true.
So hopefully they can...
And then their best shot at a new up-and-comer, well, he's not young, but Daniel Cormier, but he's going to be dropping to 205 anyway.
Yeah, man.
So
I don't think he can compete at the heavyweight division, though. And he doesn't want to fight Cain Velasquez.
He won't anyway, but he's just too short. Jeff Monson's career wasn't very prolific at either. Just 5'9" heavyweight just doesn't work. Pat Barry, same thing.
Yeah, man.
They make fun freak show fights though. When you see a guy like Pat Barry fight Stephen Struve, and there's a 1.5 foot between the two guys. Man. But
Stephane Struve's probably never going to fight again.
yeah, man, that fight with Nelson fucked him up. His job.
No, actually, he's
Mark
got a
Hunt,
heart
sorry.
condition.
Was it Mark Hunt?
Yeah,
Mark Hunt
broke
broke
him
his
up,
jaw,
but it's not because of that.
Oh, it's not because of that.
Nah,
It's
he
his
has a heart.
condition?
He has a heart condition.
Oh, I thought it was his jaw was just too fucked.
No, he has a heart condition that will probably not. He was having tests done this week, I think. I have him on Facebook. I follow him, and he was saying that he was going for tests, and he had his fingers crossed, but heart condition, and I don't think that he'll never get licensed to get fight again.
Oh,
just like Head Hardy, like Hardy, same thing. He's got a heart condition that they found for his last fight.
Hardy, Dan Hardy?
Dan Hardy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did I say Etta Hardy?
You did.
Holy fuck.
It's like
I deserve a slap for that bitch.
you do.
Dan Hardy, he's probably not going to be able to get ever cleared to fight again. If he doesn't go for the operation, he's got what it's called a wolf heart. It's got like a second heartbeat.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and they're afraid that second heartbeat can overtake the regular heartbeat and you can have a heart attack and something like that. I'm no doctor. And he needs an operation and he doesn't really want to get the operation because he thinks on his that it's not a problem. It's never been a problem, and he thinks it'll never become a problem. But the commission won't take that chance.
Unfortunately, yeah, they're not just gonna.
And I think he's gone through a spiritual transformation in the last little bit where he doesn't really have any interest in fighting anymore. So,
well, so speaking of welterweights, how about Matt Brown? He's facing Carlos Condit, right?
That's going to be an awesome fucking fight.
Very interesting.
Very interesting
interesting.
fight. Two just go at it brawlers. It
should be a fun fight.
Somebody's going to get finished.
I mean, yeah.
I think Condit's going to finish him though.
Yeah, I mean, Brown has had quite the streak, but he hasn't fought a Carlos Condit yet.
He's fought no top-notch competition like Carlos Condit. No, in my opinion.
No,
Condit in his last fight against Campman, take the first round away where he got taken down. Ooh, he looked phenomenal.
Yeah,
he looked like a guy that could put a couple of excellent wins like that together, and he could easily be fighting the champ again very soon. You know,
yeah.
Because after Johnny Hendricks, you got to be thinking who's left for GSP. You know,
Rory Mack.
They're not gonna fight.
No.
You know,
as far as contenders are concerned, who else is there?
Rematch with Carlos Condit is really the only thing you could really put on the table if he puts a winning streak together.
Yeah.
Even if Matt Brown defeats Carlos Condit, you can give him GSP. You can try to market. It's going to be like a Dan Hardy type fight. Where he doesn't deserve to be there, even if you put like 5 or 6 wins together.
Well, I don't know. If Matt Brown defeats Carlos Condit, it's going to be hard to argue that he doesn't deserve it. I mean, the guy at this point will have won, 6, 7 fights in a row?
That would have been his 7th fight in a row.
That'd be his 7th, right? He's won 6 right now.
Yeah, it's hard to argue
against it. It's hard to argue, but he's very hard to market.
Jesus, man. You know, you're going to have to sell those fights.
But, I mean, it makes for a very interesting Rocky-like story.
Yeah.
You know, Rocky.
You never know, man.
Is he from Philadelphia? They could really, push it.
I don't even know. He's from Utah or something like that.
Yeah, he's from like the ghetto. I think of like
ghetto.
Yeah, I think
Utah. No, I don't know.
And like Ohio or something. I think he's from like the rough part of.
He looks like somebody that's from a rough part. I mean, the guy's a brawler. The guy's a fucking fighter. I love him. I love watching him. But god damn, man, GSP is a different type of beast for anybody to fight.
Yeah. I mean, it's complete like conflicting.
It's in 2 GSPs fighting. It's next month. It's in November.
That one's coming up too, and that's going to be fun to see, man.
I'm excited to see GSP destroy Johnny Hendricks.
Destroy? You think he's going to? I don't think Johnny Hendricks can get destroyed by anybody.
I think he's going to get dominated.
Dominated, you say?
I think he's going to get.
I think it'll be a lot
it might be a
closer
boring fight, but I think GSP is going to Nick Diaz the shit out of him.
You think?
Yeah, he's going to spend a lot of time on his back, and it's hard to punch somebody in the face when you're on your back. That's all I got to say.
No, that's true.
It might be boring, but it's effective. That's all I have to
He's
say.
from Xenia, Ohio.
Oh,
so I did call Ohio. Matt Brown was Xenia. What the fuck? Where the hell is Xenia? Xenia. Or is it pronounced Xena, like the warrior princess?
Xena, the warrior princess.
Was that her theme song? Really?
I fucking
imagine Xena, the warrior princess.
Definitely not. All right, this podcast is done.
Really?
I think.
Wow, we've been going on for a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know the timer because
it's already 3:30 in the p.m. on this beautiful Saturday afternoon.
I'm done.
All right. Do this another time.
Yeah. another weekend. So that's it. I'm done. Check us out, modernmaverick.net. We're also on the Twitter.
On the
On the Twitter.
On the Twitter.
Check us out on the Twitter at Steph Paulin and at JFlynnMTL. On the Facebook, facebook.com/Modern Maverick. And you can check me out also on Facebook, Stephane Paulin. You know, I got a lot of interesting shit. I use a lot more Twitter than I do Facebook.
Yeah, really. I mean, I'm the other way around. I can't be limited to 140 characters. I will not allow any.
If I have something to really,
I will not be restricted and held back as to how many words. No, I will not be censored. But no, I just sometimes I like to.
When I have to go on a rant, I do use my Facebook to like really put my point across.
Yeah, it's just,
yeah.
I have trouble being 40 within 140 characters. I need that extra leeway.
Yeah, I just like the format.
Yeah.
It's quick.
It is.
So on the Twitter, on the Facebook, we are on the iTunes,
on the YouTubings as well.
On the YouTube, youtube.com/ it's Snowman80.
See, man, the YouTube is where you watch the video, and in the video you can see our video too.
That's right.
On the YouTube.
And so check us out, the Modern Maverick, on the YouTube, and on Podomatic.com. You can listen and download our beautiful and entertaining, hopefully, podcast.
Podcast. It's hard not to say podcast once you've heard it.
I am so screwed. Podcast. And that's it. This shenanigans are over for this episode number 11. So again, check us out, Twitter, Facebook, and on the website. We'll be up on iTunes shortly. All right. See you next week for episode number 12. Ciao.